This is DevOps in Agile Way podcast.
Hello everybody! If you have already enough of hearing me talking about CALMS, good news is today I will not talk about CALMS. I will talk about freeways. What is freeways? Well, it's yet another framework, we can say, or the way how we can manage and control the DevOps approach, DevOps adoption, and understand better what we need to focus on during our work. Freeways came to the mass audience, let's say this way, from two books, really. One is, of course, the most known DevOps book, the Phoenix Project, and the second one, which I have in my hands right now, is the DevOps Handbook. Two of the books which every single aspiring DevOps should read. These books can, let's say, open your eyes that DevOps is much more than just tools, which I explained in the last episode. I hope I explained why this is the case. What freeways is, as I said, is kind of framework, or maybe I didn't say it yet, but now I'm saying this. It's kind of framework, right? Where we can build the acceleration way, or we can build the understanding where we are and where we want to go and what are the issues we have. It is organized in, surprise, 3 categories. There is very, very simple diagram for this. The best thing about this, and I have in mind this diagram for freeways, how freeways works, and diagram for how safe works. No, they are not similar. They are from different galaxies and from different times, really. It's a huge difference. To say it's a huge difference between those two is like to say nothing. Okay, let's come back to freeways. Freeways has 3 principles or pillars. They call it principles. And all of them, the whole approach is built on the foundation. That's very creative what I said. But the foundation here is, of course, Agile, the frameworks in Agile, and the things even which today we understand as a part of Agile, but are much older than Agile. Lean, for example. We have 3 pillars or principles. The first way is called flow and system thinking. The second way is amplify feedback loops. And the third way, culture of continual experimentation and learning. And now, why these are important? Because they create a complete circle for our work, okay? And the circle here, what I mean is that we do something, we act, this action brings some reaction, and then we have to know what is the reaction and why. The 3 ways gives us really this thing. I don't want to explain everything really in detail. That's why this episode will not be very long. But I want you to be aware of freeways. That's first thing. And second thing, to invite you to dig for more in different places. For example, on the IT Revolution webpage. If you don't want to buy the books, which I mentioned already, you can find some information on IT Revolution website, or you can just Google it. So, the first way, it is represented by very simple diagram, let's say. It's arrow between business and customer, and in the same time between development and ops. And this is the most pure understanding of DevOps, right? So, the first way emphasizes the performance of the entire system. And this is the definition from this webpage I mentioned. I will not read the whole book because the DevOps Handbook book is like 400 pages, at least in my publication, in my edition. So, no, I will not read it. The first way emphasizes the performance of the entire system. And this is very important, entire system. Because if we look on very specific element of the system, it means that we silo this element. We can have a very bad impression that everything is fine because all of the parts works perfectly fine. But those parts together doesn't work for some reason. as well as they should. So this is very important to understand, that we need to understand the whole system. DevOps, really, the most important duty of DevOps is to understand the whole system. Ask questions. Ask powerful questions. Use the why question. Quite funny thing, I believe, because we have a lot of different whys approaches, right? 5 whys, 3 whys, 9 whys. I think that they are very good, but not necessarily right. Because why 3 whys or 5 whys? Maybe there should be 11 nines, 11 whys, 11 nines. It looks like I'm AWS guy, right? I thought immediately about 11 nines. So for me, this framework or this approach should be called enough whys. Because that many times you should ask why until you will reach the bottom of the problem. What I observed is when your question, your why, and the answer is uncomfortable for the person who is answering, then you started to touch the real case, the real problem. It works for me, at least. So, first why is about the understanding the whole system and think about the whole system as whole, and then you can zoom in and zoom out. The second way is to amplify feedback loops. One of the most important elements, right, is to have understanding what's going on and have this understanding and have this feedback very quickly as possible. And in this diagram, I mentioned for the first one, it was like an arrow from dev to ops. Now we have another arrow which going from ops to dev. So we have a circle. Dev do something, there is an action to ops, and ops is coming back with feedback. And I know that I simplify things as much as I can, probably. So generally, quick feedback, very fast one. Something happened, something is going on, you receive a feedback. This feedback shouldn't be forced. It should be created as a natural culture. Again, I promised not to talk about CALMS, so I will not say that culture is part of CALMS, the first letter C. I didn't say that. We need to build this, the word on C, I'm not saying about CALMS, that everyone, first of all, expect feedback, is giving feedback, and is incorporating feedback into all processes, all applications, all code which is built. It is important also to have this feedback from the customers, from the client, because, well, the client is paying us, paying to our company. We should provide something what makes them happy, simply speaking. Somehow enforcing, on the beginning you need to enforce this, but enforcing and ensuring that you have feedbacks built into your process, into your daily work, and you act on this feedback. And also, the problem is not the one who is providing the feedback. The problem is what is provided. The issue is, let's say, systematic. The issue is with the performance. The issue is with the application, not with the people. And I want to emphasize this. Here we talk about business process elements, not about people. So we have this circle, right? We started on dev, we went to ops, and then we came back with feedback back to devs. And the third way is called culture of continual experimentation and learning. So now I can use the word culture. Finally, I'm saved. The third way tells us about creating a culture that fosters two things. And I'm reading now from the web page. Continual experimentation, taking risks, and learning from the failure, and understanding the repetition and practice in the prerequisite to mastery. Now, we all know that we have to learn. We all know that failure is obvious. We will make mistakes. We did mistakes in the past. I could talk like for the whole day or even longer about my mistakes. But the problem here, which we need to solve, is that the organization as a whole needs to give us the space to learn and also needs to give us the space to fail. And we hear very often, fail fast, learn fast, right? we should have like fail fast, learn fast, fix fast. But this is the different story. The point here is that with very short and very rich feedback loops, we are able and we really can allow ourselves to fail. When we fail, we learn fast because we have, and we know about this very quickly because we have very good feedback loop. And then we can fix this and see if the fix really works because we have feedback loop. So simple like that. And how it is represented on the graph. So we had this circle, right, from dev to ops and then feedback to back to dev. And inside of this, we have these circles, like arrowed circles, which represent the cycles. And simple like that. This is simple like that. The whole book, and I'm saying again about the DevOps handbook, is about this. How to foster this, how to build the freeway culture, what we can do, how to practice it, how to change our mindset in order to establish proper culture. The thing is, I didn't mention one thing about the third way. It's about the experimentation as well. Experimentation will lead to more fails. That's simple. That's the reason of experimenting, right? We want to check something. So even if let's say we have 50-50, right? So half of the experiments are right and will be used and half of experiments just failed and we need to go somewhere else, use some other tool, some other approach, some other process, whatever. It's still the learning. Again, we have very quick feedback loops, so we understand what's going on and how it works very quickly and what is the outcome. But the problem here, which needs to be loudly spoken, really, is that the point where this can be enabled is on the top of organization. It needs to be created and established from the top of the organization because we need to have safe environment to fail. Without blaming culture, without doing all those things which we often are tempted to do. Oh, he failed, he is idiot, he didn't understand how it works. If you are so smart, teach him. This is very important. Right. So I believe this is enough for today. 3 ways. I will probably not go deeper into it because 3 ways are very well described in books, in internet. Again, I really recommend the books Phoenix Project and the DevOps Handbook. Both are published by IT Revolution. Both are worth to buy and read. So do it, please. And let me know which one you like better. Or maybe there is another book about this topic which you would like to recommend. I want to hear it. Please comment. Please add your thoughts. And I'll be happy to read it and answer it. Thank you very much. See you next week.
Thank you for listening to this episode of DevOps in Agile Way podcast with your host, Paveyu Pivosh. Subscribe, comment, and do not forget to check our next episodes. Stay tuned. Stay safe. Stay curious.